welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited to have all of you here. Hey, Jason, welcome back. You're probably, I did tell you guys, I'm going to be on the road today. I'm in my truck here. You would be amazed, Jim Pierce, at how I have my laptop kind of leveling out on a cup that I had protein in. But I'm excited to have you here. Hey, turn on your cameras, and it looks like you are all the rebels that are making it to day 5. So if you're ready to end day 5 really, really strong, can you type in strong in the chat bar? Can you type in strong? Now, I am working off of a hotspot and doing everything in my power to make sure that, Jim, we keep the level of vibration up. So if you help Rhonda, my hotspot, stay connected to the almighty grid here, that'd be great, because I have a lot of stuff that I want to tackle with you guys today. First thing to do here is, and I see I'm not the only one. Well, Dave Dole, he's driving, and David Fisher, hey, what's up, brother? Kathy in the house. Travis, my man, nice to see you. It's crazy on me. Right in, and he'll pick up, but we're best that we can. So type in the chat bar, no matter how many days of training that you did, Bill, what has changed inside of you? Type in the chat bar, like, what has changed inside of you? Jim, what? And it could be one word, a couple words. I realize everybody, it's Friday, so you're trying to navigate. Okay, so we got mindset, thoughts, the way we're thinking, passion, to be more accountable, hope, committed, inspiration. And if you were to tell anybody that did not show up today, or someone did not do the Money Power Challenge, I don't know if we'll ever do this challenge again, but if you were to tell somebody that did not come here, what would you tell them they missed? Tell me in the chat bar, like you would say to your friend, you missed out on what? You missed that becoming what? I'm just curious what you guys would say here. Hey, Pernilla Danielle says gold. What else? What would you tell your friends that, hey, you missed out on this? Now, the good news is your friends don't have to miss out on it. They could go watch the replays in the Facebook group, and we'll have that group open for a little bit. So, team, throw the link in there for the Money Power period of time. You guys answer this for me in the chat bar. Can you beg people to change? Can you beg people to change? You can't beg people to change, right? It just doesn't work that way. You can invite them to an environment that you hope that they'll step in the door, and just like I stepped in the door, and maybe write a note, you know, when you want to build success, money, wealth, create things. And to me, it doesn't matter if you want to build a $32 million business, or you want to create a movement, and you're a coach and you want to coach like I did, coach over 1,000 business owners, or you want to do what we do today. You know, we're building a portfolio to 500 million. It doesn't matter, but write down, like, I need to step in. All of you need to step in. You need to step forward, right? If you don't step in and step forward, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. I am excited, Rhonda, that I am in here in the truck, even though I am twisting my body like this. So I might need chiropractic by the time we get to Orlando. My wife is in the RV, little RV van there. Okay, she's waving. I don't know if you could see her. She's like in that vehicle there. But the one thing that I was excited about being able to do this from my truck with my body becoming a contortionist or whatever, is that the reason I'm able to do this is because of life, business, and wealth by Design. Can you guys just write that down? And those of you not on camera, hey, do me a favor, turn on your camera if you can, because I got my camera on and I'm in my. When you really focus on life, business, and wealth by design, you could do these things, right? You could do these things. You could be in your truck and deliver money power. Before we go into the content today, I would like to know, just as a little kind of reminder for you guys on, Money Power Session 1, you worked on that night building your vision. And type in vision in the chat bar if you're starting to really believe it. Are you starting to really believe your vision? Not as a fantasy, not as a fairy tale, but as a fact. As a fact. See, when you see your vision as a fact, you're going to put focus in that and it's going to create that reality for you. And that's what we did. If any of you missed it, go back and watch the replay. Then we talked about the scripts, right? And whose truth is that? And type in truth if you're starting to make the commitment, Christopher, that you're going to live your truth. Type in truth if you guys are going to live your truth, not your neighbor's truth, not your partner's truth, not your children's truth, not your grandkids' truth. You're going to start living your truth, because your truth is going to make this life really, really magical. And then we went, and on the next day, which was day 3 that night, you showed up the next day on day 4 with your money mantra. And how many of you type in a number in the chat bar? Like, how many in it at least once? Is it 5 times? Do you whistle to it? Is it throughout the day? Every time something difficult comes on, you say your money mantra. Maybe money and wealth comes to you effortlessly and easily in abundance. Grace says throughout the day. I am health, wealth, love, and success, Richard says. The more you say it, the more that's the only program you're running. You're not running the program of confusion and chaos. And then yesterday, we talked about now putting into place our nighttime and our morning money routine. And give me one thing that's part of your nighttime routine and one thing that's part of your morning routine. Go ahead, put it in the chat bar. One thing, nighttime routine, and one thing, morning routine. I want to see these. And hey, Katie, thanks for joining us. I see Grace is on, Eric. Hey, Elizabeth. Boom. Nice to see you. So, planning at night. Yeah. Okay. Acting in the morning. Reading intention. Hypnosis and prayer. Okay. I just bought some yellow pads. Yeah. My goals at night and walk on the beach in the morning. Richard, I was sharing this with someone the other day, and you might consider adapting it or adopting it if it feels good. I was doing a training, and I've trained. Is there any military people here? Raise your hand or type in military. Thank you if any military people are watching this. And I was training with a bunch of, hey, Helen, nice to see you. A bunch of military people. And I said, I have a goal, right? A goal to do this thing. And that's when I learned that military people don't have goals. They have targets, Rhonda. They have targets. Now, what's the difference between a goal and a target? A goal is, and Mike, you'll tell me, thank you for being on here and thank you for your service, Christopher. A goal is something you've probably attempted to do, and maybe you didn't get there. You're like, my goal is to release 20 pounds. And maybe you did, and maybe you didn't, or maybe you did, and maybe it came back. But see, when you set a target, you might want to write this down. A target is a destination. And when the military sets their sights on a target, they don't say it's a goal to eliminate the enemy. They say, no, it's a target. It's a demand. It's a must. Remember, I will, I can, I must right now. And so this is probably decades ago. Some of you had heard me talk about this before, either on stage or in person. I changed everything to that's my target. Now, I don't care if your target is 50,000 or 500 million. If it's a goal, your mind might already be set like, yeah, I might not. But if it's a target, you're going to do everything within your mind, body, spirit, soul, and everything to get to that part. Just like we know our target just 3 years ago was to impact 100 million people or more. And we changed it to 120 million. Why? We're already well on our way of the impact. How many, if you were to take a guess, like you, and I'm honored you're here because your impact is not effect. Tell me, just take a guess in the chat bar. Does it affect 5 people, 50 people, 500 people? How much will this one money power training, how many people will it impact over your lifetime? Thousands of people, millions of people? I'm going to bring this knowledge forward, right? And those of you that are just joined, hey, welcome. You're getting day number 5 money power from the truck. That's what you're getting today. The other thing is I want to congratulate a lot of you that have signed up for the wealth code. The team will put the link there. I think we'll stop it today, but we're offering the wealth code at 83% off. 83%. That puts it under $500. Under 500 bucks. Now it's thousands of dollars. Now, I would like to think that this money power training, you at least, tell me if it's true, if you at least learn something you know is worth way more than 500 bucks. Man, I hope nobody says not true, because that would be my kryptonite. I won't even know how to react to it or relate to it. So if you want the 83% off and you want to go into wealth code in May, you're going to spend 16 hours just like this with us. Not an all one day. Even though I'll tell you, Rhonda, that would be fun because I have a huge endurance. Like I could go to midnight. One time we did a training, we ended at 2 a.m. Like I could keep going. Long as people don't black out, I could keep going. But it's going to be 16 hours over 4 days spread out. So a Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. Not only are we going to do learning, we're going to do application. We're going to put the blueprint building, and we're going to have the Q&A time so that we can tackle any stuff. Also, the wealth code I'm sharing, like it was just an hour. It was just an hour ago that I'm sharing real wealth things that I'm thinking about today, and how my mind keeps leveling up into that wealth of abundance and prosperity and how to put it into action. So if any of you could use that QR code, you'll get 83% off today. I hope you'll join me. If you're investing in your future and you feel you're worthy, do it. Some of you, just because I'm traveling, you probably heard about the 2-day VIP event that I'm running. If you don't know what the 2-day is, put a question mark in the chat bar. I know Danielle will be there for the wealth code. But if you don't know what the 2-day experience is, put a question mark. I'll explain it. And what that is, some of you here. What? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. My wife was saying they're going to the little place over there. All right. So the part about the 2-day VIP experience is that you're going to be in person with 20 other people with me, Helen. Okay. So it's 20 people live in person in New Jersey. All right. And it includes the wealth code. Now, if you want to do a training like that, I think there's 5 spots left, but I have like 3 people I still have to get back and review their forms. I'm picking every person that applies for it, and I'm making sure it's a fit for every person. Okay. If I don't think it's a fit for you, then I'm going to be upfront and get, hey, just do the wealth code. If I think it's a fit for you because you're ready to step up, step forward, and really do, really make a position and really move your life like you can't imagine, well, then it might be a fit for you. Okay. So the link's there. You go in, you fill out the form. If you're picked, you'll invest in that. Make sure May 21st and 22nd. Those are the dates. You're going to be in my neighborhood. You're 1 block over from where I live full time, me and my wife. And what that means by being 1 block over is I want to make sure the right people are coming to my neighborhood. If that's fair, type in fair in the chat bar. Is that fair? So if you're interested in either one of those, let me know. Our goal is to unlock the aspects in you that just make a lot of you that never even thought financial freedom is possible. Every single person in my world, which it's 62 now in 36 months. I've only been tracking it for 36 months. There's a lot more before that. But 62 in the last 36 months have become millionaires, and 90% of them have become decamillionaires. How do you do it? You know what, Pernilla, just as you know, you unlock the higher thinking in the mind. All right. So if anybody's interested, hey, just fill out the form. I'll check it out. I'll communicate back with you. Now, I'm going to do a poll, but because I don't want to tax the system. Oh, Tara put a picture of the house there. Yeah, man, that's going to be fun. You see up on the top there, that's a roof deck. I have this vision of what we're going to do on this roof deck. It's going to be amazing, amazing. The poll, the way we're going to do this poll today, because I don't want to tax the system here, is I'm just going to ask you the question. You're going to put the answer. Okay. You're going to put the answer. So who do you need to get aligned with to have more money and have more wealth and financial freedom? Do you have to get aligned with your wife, aligned with your husband, aligned with your partner, aligned with your kids, aligned with your parents, aligned with your company? Type in, who do you need to get aligned with right now? And let's see. So we got husband, got to get aligned with. Self, okay. Company, yeah, so that might be team alignment, right? Kids, got to get aligned with them. We got a husband. You see, people are all over the place because, everybody has different relationships. Now, if you don't get aligned with these people and they're not aligned with you, tell me what's going to happen in your life. Like, what will this cause you if you don't get aligned? Tell me, what will it cause you? Yeah, a gap. You'll grow apart. Bankrupt. That's a fun one. You'll get held back. Confusion. Now, I've done this exercise before, and I don't want to go in depth in it, but it is a reality. If you look at how many days you lived on, and I don't even want to do it on my phone because I don't want to, I'm using a hotspot here. But if you do, how many years you're alive and you multiply that by 365, that's the time that you live so far. And even if you thought you were going to live, Aaron, would you do the math and type it in for me? Let's say that you live 50 more years. Some of you are way young, it's 70 or 8, but let's just do 50. Aaron, what's 50 times 365? And throw it in the chat bar. Throw it in the chat bar. I think this creates awakening. Now, some of you right now said to yourself, well, I'm not going to make it 50. Some of you said, I'm going to go way beyond 50. So I'm going to be a level 54 on May 29th. And I'm shooting right now for 120. I wanted 140, but I pulled it back to 120 because there's a bunch of decisions I still have to make to get to 140, which means I have a little less than 70 years. But if you had 50 years left, 50, you would have 18,250 days. Type in, does that sound like a lot of days to you? Does 18,000, Jim Pierce, like, I don't, all of you type in, Helen, does 18,000 days sound like a lot of days to you? Like, right? I mean, Chantal, sound like a lot of days. Now, some of you, in your mind, you only have 30 years. You're only thinking you got 30 years left. All right, Aaron, do it for 30 years. So 30 times 365. Every time I do this exercise, it does something inside of me. And I'm wondering what it's doing for you right now. What it does for me, 10,000. All right, Danielle, you beat, I knew your goal was to beat Aaron in it. So high five. Boom. High five. All right, Aaron. Okay. 10,950 days. Now, I don't know about you. If that clock is ticking and you know you only have 10,000 days, what do you want to do to win? So what that says to me is if I want to have 70% of that time be the best time of my life, well, the 30% of days left, I better do everything I can. Because if you focus, all right, let's do some more math. All right, so Aaron, hang on, forget it, Aaron. Danielle, I kicked Aaron off of the math, Danielle. All right, so now we got 30 years. We got 10,950 days. Give me 30% of 10,950. What is that? 30%. It's going to be 3,000 something. Is that it? So 30% of 950. Give me the math. Okay. Jim Pierce is in the battle now. Okay. Jim is in the game. All right, Jim. I now moved on to you. Jim, 3285 divided by 365. 3285 divided by 365. What do we got? 9. You have less than 9 years. If you want, that will give you, so we had 30 years. If you want 21 years of magic, you got to get all this done in 9 years. Well, what's the point beyond this? If you don't, it's not about learn more, it's about learn different. If you don't learn different and take chances now, what is the reality in the chat bar that you're facing? Tell me, give me a word in the chat bar. If you don't figure it out right now, when? Now. Taking action now. Raising your wisdom now. You're going to end up one day where you're going to say to yourself, what the hell? What happened? How did I not get there? How did I stay stuck here? You know, I'm in a world where I work with so many people every day, every year. Man, I did five specialty calls just on my drive here, which makes my drive, it's like a 17-hour drive. It makes it go. We're not doing it all in one day, but it makes the time go really, really fast. You know, I'm sure like all of you, have you ever extended out an olive branch? Someone held out an olive branch, you know, or who cares what type of branch? Olive branch, oak branch, does it really matter? You held it out, no one grabbed it, right? No one grabbed it. So let's dig into some things. Money is about moving forward, not running away. Write it down, everyone. Money's about moving forward, not running away. And DJ, it's about momentum. It's about momentum. When you're moving forward and not running away is complaining about, avoiding, ignoring. Momentum is focus, energy, intention. Now, all of you within certain parts of your money, your wealth, your business, your career, you're all, and it could be different levels on each aspect. You have one of three things probably happening right now. You have fight, you have flight, or you have freeze. So what is flight? flight is actually not the worst thing. It's not the most beneficial thing. Flight is when you're running away from things. I can't do this business. I can't do this job. I can't make this money. I can't create this, right? You run away. That's flight. Scared, go. It's not actually the dangerous one. You know what the most dangerous one is? Freeze. It's freeze. Did you ever watch a kid run into the middle of a street to get a ball and a car comes? The kid doesn't run away. They what? Freeze. They get stuck. We call it paralysis. Now, if you're in a state of frozen, which who was maybe on day one would admit you were a little frozen in maybe life, business, wealth, money, but through each day you got a little more unfrozen, unstuck. Was anybody in that position? I mean, based on looking at some of you now for 5 days, I feel like we've been in a picnic for 5 days together. I've been watching some of you. I watched you go from freeze to unstuck. So what's fight? Fight is the ability to want to win because you deserve to win. And it's wanting to become an Olympian, right? It's wanting to become this Olympian. It's wanting to give it the energy and effort. Some people don't find it fun. I don't know about you, Mike. I find it a blast. The toughest jobs gave me the greatest skills. The toughest days gave me the greatest grit. And it's the ability to not quit and keep going that wins the game, that wins this game. Now, write it in all caps. I don't care if you write it on your arm, unless you're driving, write it somewhere. Certainty. Because our theme, just so you know, in Food Dog, we have a theme. It's no retreat, no surrender. That's our theme for this month. No retreat, no surrender. So I wanted to give you some things to create certainty in your life. And we will be, just for planning your life, we will be finishing at 4 p.m. We'll be finishing at 4 p.m. But I want to give you a bunch of certainty things right now. One, certainty is by cultivating a flexible mindset. Flexible. Now, I like mind growth because it's improving, but let's just say a flexible mind versus some of you are in a rigid mind. Like my dad used to say, this is how we always did it. This is how it will always be done. Do you ever have anybody in your life say that? Tell me in the chat bar. This is the way it's always been done. This is the way they'll always do it. Well, guess what? That's not going to change your life with that. The next thing is focus on what you can control. Okay. I cannot control the global economy. But you know what, DJ? I can control my economy. You might want to all write that down. Did you get that, Lori? I can't control the global economy, but I can control my economy. And when you understand you're a controller of your economy, well, guess what? You have certainty. Certainty. The next thing is you want to plan for scenarios. You want to plan for scenarios. What's a scenario? If this happens, I'll do that. If this happens, I'll do that. But the world doesn't work that way. Most people are trained, I'm just going to figure it out if something happens. No. The way to win is if I do this and don't make money, I then have to do this to make money. If I do this and make money, I then have to do this to make different money. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, the next thing. Prioritize continuous learning. Prioritize means I need to learn what's needed next. Somebody tells me, they go like this. They say they see someone put a book on Facebook, and right away someone puts a business book and you go grab the book. You're like, oh man, Helen's like, that's a good book. I'll grab the book. And I always go like this. Is that your biggest problem? And they go, well, no, it's not my biggest problem. It just looks like a good book. Now, maybe this is clicking for some of you. So don't read a good book if it doesn't solve your biggest problem. Make sense? For me? Make sense? But I watch people do this all the time. All the time. Are these helpful? Type in helpful if these are helpful. Are these helpful? Okay, good. Next one. You want to make sure that you develop strong decision-making skills. Write it down. Right now, and it doesn't mean it's you, I'm just telling you from working with so many people, a lot of the decision-making skills are based emotionally. They're emotional skills. Okay? That's what the decision skills are. They're based on their emotional turbulence. Which leads me to, you want to foster emotional intelligence. You want to foster emotional intelligence. How many of you could be upfront, we've been together 5 days now. How many of you let your emotions kind of like take control of your life sometimes versus you controlling your emotions? Yeah, Mary? That doesn't mean you don't cry and laugh and have anger and happiness. It just means that sometimes it's controlling, it's overrunning your decisions. Why? Because you haven't fostered emotional intelligence. You've had emotional controlling. Someone said, any of you have this? Maybe not you guys, probably not you guys, unless a lot of Italian families, I'm generalizing here. They say, your dad or mom, did anybody ever say this to you? I'll give you a reason to cry. Did anybody ever say that? Oh, I got some heads nodding. Rhonda's like, you want to cry? Oh, I'll give you a reason to cry. And you're like, well, now that you're an adult, you're like, who the hell says that to someone? I'm already crying. Like, you want to give me another reason to cry more? Like, how vicious are you? But they didn't know because they just took that lesson from someone else, right? The next one for certainty is engage in regular self-reflection. Self-reflection, not self-destruction. Self-reflection is, let me see what's really happening here, not the story I'm telling myself. Isn't it amazing? Like, what happened to the eclipse, everybody? Like, you're all still here. No zombies. Wasn't the end of the world. You didn't all end up in heaven all of a sudden. It's like, I'm here. I'm in this parking lot. Cars are driving by, right? Self-reflection says, let me reflect on, like, where am I right now? Like, where are you today, right now? And if your self-reflection is the land of possibility, well, then guess what? We're going to get to that place of possibility, right? Possibility. So those are just a few uncertainty. I want to talk to you about some solutions. And I know I'm going fast, but it's day 5, so I felt like I warmed you up. Can you type in warmed up? Like, I felt like I've been warming you up every day so I could go a little bit quicker. I want you to think about, how do you bring things to you? You actually release things away from you. How do you bring things to you? You actually release things away from you. Some things you're carrying on that you're not releasing. One of the things that maybe you're not releasing is maybe you have some form of assets or things, like, You have a motorcycle, you don't use it no more. You have a boat, you haven't been in it. You have a car that sits there. You have a fancy watch you never wear. You have furniture you never use. You have stuff in your attic, in your crawl space. Someone told me, they said, do this math equation. This would be fun. You guys will do it later, not now, because we already did our math challenge, and I think Jim Pierce won, but we already did the math challenge. If you took everything, the square foot of your house, okay? Now, for some of you, it's the square foot of your house and your property. And you took how much you physically live in on a regular basis. How much do you live in square foot? And how much of the square foot has become storage? What do you think the reality might happen for you inside your mind? What do you think? That you might be paying for the most expensive storage on the planet, right? Units that are probably 80% cheaper to store your stuff, But we don't think of it that way. So now, if you're looking around and you go, wait, I got all this stuff, I don't use it. If you get rid of it, and you would not cry if it went away, you may not need that asset. Now, everything's an asset, everything. It could be clothes, food, jewelry, furniture, just to show you how much things can be an asset. I want you to just imagine, my wife and I have a house that's right. The house is one house over from us, and they're going to knock it down. All of a sudden, they're pulling stuff off, Jim. Someone's there pulling the windows out. And I'm like, it's interesting. Like maybe they're taking it apart themselves. Someone else comes. Rhonda, they start pulling the siding off the house. They're going to knock it down. Someone's taking the doors and the molding out. And then I bump into the neighbor who owns the house. And I said, what are they doing? He goes, well, we posted that we're getting this house, and what do you want to buy? And he said, before I know it, they're buying the deck in the back. They're pulling the planks off. They're pulling the wood out. They're pulling the siding out. They're pulling the windows out. So one person says, Mary, I'm just going to knock this house down. I'm going to throw it in the, in the garbage. And then someone else turns around and says, well, this isn't garbage. This is money. This is money. So if any of you would pick up and think of something that you have that no longer has the value you need, but you can gain that value and do something better with it, type something in the chat bar. Let's see, what do you have? I have some things. I have things in my house. I have pictures. We have some furniture. We have all kinds of things. Just give me one in the chat bar so I know you understand the value of not only looking at an asset, but wanting to let go of an asset. Mary's like, I got too many. I don't want anybody if they want something right now. Mary's like, let me tell you what I got right here. My brother-in-law is about to knock his house down, and my niece needs money. Okay, well, guess what? You tell your niece, sell every part of that house before it's knocked down. Now, doesn't mean your niece will do it. I gotta tell you, my aunt was struggling with money years ago. And I said to her, I have all kinds of stuff I don't want. I'll give it to you. Go on Facebook, sell it, keep the money. First she says, well, I don't know how to do that. I said, okay, or like, do you have an iPhone? Do you? Yeah, I do that stuff. Okay, is it you don't know how to do it, or you just don't want to do it? She goes, it sounds like a lot of work. Danielle, sometimes you could extend the greatest olive branch in the world with like the best tasting olives on the branch. They just don't want to eat it sometimes, right? But some of you that are thinking about assets around you now and things. Now, in order to remove assets, you want to consider this: detaching emotionally from non-performing things. How many of you have stuff in your attic? Here's a good one. How many of you have parents that have their grandparents' stuff still in the attic? And you look at that piece of furniture and they're like, oh, I've been saving it for you. It's like, it smells like old people and 200-year-old dust. I think I'm going to get sick by putting this in my house, right? But they're saving it for you. I got news for you. You want to save it for generations to come? Take a picture of it. Because the kids are going to enjoy the picture. They're not going to want the thing, right? The thing. And that's because of, if you look at it, elderly people or the generations before a lot of you, your grandparents, they were attached emotionally. Why? Things were not abundant. Things were not abundant. You had to, why were there so many craftsmen, 50, 80, 100 years ago? Because you couldn't just go buy it. You couldn't afford to buy it, and it wasn't mass production. So if the leg on the furniture broke, you went out there, you filed it, you glued it, you screwed it, you made it, you cut a tree branch down and used it. But today it's abundant. So you throw it out. You throw it out. Is this making sense? Give me a boom in the chat bar here. Now, you do know there's advantages to this removing of stuff, right? But if we can't get past detaching emotionally, and I just dealt with this myself, Elizabeth, I had at one time thousands of books because I was such a consumer of information, but it wasn't like today where, you can go on your iPhone and get information. Like I'm listening to a book while I drive. It wasn't like that. You had a physical book. So I had thousands. One time I got rid of it. Now I have hundreds of books. And I was just telling Aaron weeks ago. So me and my wife, I took a whole bunch of books. A lot of them were brand new, 2-3 weeks old. Some of them I didn't even read. And first we tried to go put them in the little book box things. My wife had us driving around trying to find the little book boxes, and all of them, like majority are filled. And then finally I said, look, I gotta give it to the recycling center. Why? Because I don't need that information right now. And if I have information sitting that I don't need, my mind has conflict. And if I have conflict, I have less money than more money. Do you get it? I have less money than more money. So I just said to myself, this book, am I emotionally attached to this book? And if I am, why? Is it antique? Am I not? Now, it's not an antique book. So you know what I did? I took a picture of the book and I released the book. If I ever need the book again or I'm curious, I'll go buy the book. But I made space inside my life, inside my mind. Give me one action item as we start. I got a couple more things I want to cover before we finish up today. But what's an action item that you have to do, or something? Don't say your husband or wife. I don't need anybody. Kind of like thing, widget. Order a big bin. Yeah, big dumpster bin and get rid of it. What else? Sell motorcycle. Yeah, put it up. Polish it up a little bit. Right, perfect time, right, Stephanie? This is a great time for it. Someone else. That's it. No one else has any stuff to get rid of. Just me and Danielle. And okay, write down goals every day. Plan for scenarios. Yeah, great. All right, let's go into. We're going to finish up on some behaviors and habits. So 3 words I want you to write down. Behaviors. Write it down. Behaviors, habits, and patterns. Behaviors, habits, and patterns. Now, habits are things that were produced from a pattern. A pattern was you started like the first, anybody a nail biter? Raise your hand. Nail biters? Nail biters? No? You wouldn't tell me if you were? Okay. Okay, I got one, a nail biter. At one time, you were biting your nails and something nervous happened. You were a little freaked out, something wasn't going right, and you bit your nail. And then the second time you were nervous, your hand was on your face and then you bit your nail. And then guess what happened? This pattern of biting your nails when you're nervous became a habit. Now, before the habit was formed, there was behaviors that happened. There was these things like, I got nervous, then did this. I got nervous, built up to this. So the first thing you want to do is consider what are mindful spending habits. Because for some of you, I'm guessing, if anybody wants to be truthful, you can. There's no judgments here. But some of you don't have so much of a money-making problem as a spending problem. Is that anybody or none of you here? Maybe a possibility, right? If you have a lot of stuff in your Amazon cart, then it's probably you, right? You're like, you know what? I need that new clip for my car. I need the latest iPhone. I need the newest cord. I need all these things on Amazon, right? And when you wake up one day, you're like, you got a house full of like little widgets and gadgets and things. Well, the good thing is, if you could become mindful and say to yourself, okay, if I don't get this right now, what would it do for me? And the second thing is, what's the return on investment from this? If I buy this tool, like for me, this laptop, now, I don't think I needed the 4, terabyte on this MacBook Pro. It is really nice. This MacBook Pro was like $5,300. But when I look at it, what's the return on it? Well, I'm at this, this stop here, and I'm talking to you, right? So and I move fast. It moves really, really quick on here. So what's the return? It's a great return. But if you're buying something on Amazon and you say to yourself, is it really solving it? How long will it solve it? And the answer is no, don't get it. Don't get it. When you're not distracted by spending, you're focused on making, okay? When you're not distracted on spending, you're focused on making. Do you see that polarity that's happening there? And a lot of people, they're buying things to distract their minds, which means it's keeping you from the solutions and opportunities to get exactly what you want. Now, this is part of that impulse, controlling impulses. How do you control an impulse? Look at the impulse and go to yourself, where's the behavior, the pattern, and habit that was built out of that impulse? If you have an impulse of yelling at people, well, that was taught at one time. Now, if I could go there and go, you know what? Let me figure out a way to make sure that I understand this, that I can recognize this emotional thing. Once you turn your emotions into the focus of attracting money, money's going to come because your mind says that makes me feel good. But if you complain every time you write a check, you complain every time you use a credit card, you complain every time you pay the taxes, your brain says money is bad. It causes you harm. All right, tell me what's what's resonating for you. Type something in the chat bar here. Type something in the chat bar that's resonating for you. What is something that you're like, wow, okay, I got it. I heard it. It's sticking. I'm there. Man, you're feeling like all in. Learning money habits. Yeah. Like Mary, I had a habit. If I was going to spend money and I had $1,000, I can only spend 100. The 900 had to go away. Right? If I had 5,000, I could spend 500. So I always played these rules and it kept adding up money. And then I just said, like, look, it's easy for anybody to go, I want that car, that boat, that motorcycle. But you're buying food, you're buying an emotion. You're buying the feelings and emotions of being full. Now, I know you need food to survive, but that's what you're buying. When you bought your car, I bet you sat in it and thought a minute when you looked in the mirror, how do I look inside this car? When you bought a dress or shoes, you said, how do I look? And then you said, how will other people look at me? So money is a game of freeing yourself from the actions and behaviors you have now and from the concerns of what you think. Otherwise, you're walking around saying, if you're not in a suit and tie, you're not in a dress, you're making this, how are people going to look? And that's what, my mom, when she found out that I got tattooed at 15, that was my first tattoo. It was this, like, it's got stuff around it now, but I got this old school eagle here. And Rhonda, it was New Year's Eve. She came home and it was me and my cousin. And I had a short sleeve shirt on because, of course, I had a tattoo and I was all cool. She didn't know it. And when she saw the tattoo, she freaked out and then she didn't talk to me for 2 weeks because tattoos were bad. A lot of you are probably from that world where if you're tattooed, you're probably a gangster. I think people for a lot of years, they're like, I must be a criminal. Did you? Today it's mainstream. So it's not, if you don't have one, you're weird, right? So it's looking at how do we regulate within this world of, do we care what, and if you care what others going to become abundant, because your mind's going to be so worried on what people are thinking instead of focusing on what you want to get and have. Do you see that? Richard, I'm showing up for 4 days. I expect to get 100K for my invent. Awesome. All right. Here's what we're going to do for the last couple minutes. One, I can't wait to see you guys on the training. So I hope you'll take advantage of the 83% on the wealth code, because if you think this is good, multiply it by 1,000. That's the wealth code. If you want the 2-day VIP experience, you want to fill out the application, team will put it there, fill it out. When I land to Florida, we'll talk about that and we'll see if you're a fit for that. What I'd like to do for the last couple minutes of time is, one, open it up. If you have a specific question through this money power, you're like, you know what, Mike, could you just answer this for me? You just hit the raise your hand button and we'll tackle a couple. If there is no questions, then I'd like to have you guys take a minute and write down your highest priority action that you're going to do right now that this training's done. We will leave the Facebook open for a while. I'll do some videos in there for you and stuff. So does anybody have a specific question? Hey, Anthony, that you want to ask? Just go to the bottom. There's a reactions. You hit the raise the hand button. If not, it's okay. I know sometimes it could be pretty intimidating here to do that. So if there is no questions, let's do this. Take a minute and scroll through your notes. Go ahead. Scroll through your notes. And action that you need to take now that you finished the 5-day Money Power Challenge. And give yourself a little pat on the back, Rhonda. Everybody, a little pat on the back. You did it. You made it to the challenge. There you go. You can pat yourself on the back. You made it here. So now put your highest priority action. I'm going to read a couple, then boom, we're going to call it a wrap on the Money Power Challenge, on the Money Power Challenge. This is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning for all of us. Money mantra. Yes, Elizabeth. I love it. Great job. I love spending the time with you here. Morning and evening routine. Yeah, Danielle. So good. Goal on hand. Yep. Declutter and release items no longer needed. Mary, I can't wait to see. Show me everything you're decluttering. Like, Mike, I'm getting rid of this. I don't want it, just so you know, because I'm doing my own thing, but someone else might want it too. Need to get creative to start bringing in money fast. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it's not about creative. It's about what does somebody want and need, and show it to them and they'll buy it, right? Review replays, 5-day money challenge. Boom. Very smart move, Mike. It's in the there. Get it to other people too. Tell them join the Facebook group and let's do it. Watch it together, you know? Put routine with mantra into action. Yes. Let's see what else you guys have here. mantra. Oh, Katie's laying it down there. Evening routine, change my health habits. On fire. I love it, Katie. Music could completely just jam up my computer single. So if it does, that's fine. Otherwise, congratulations on finishing the Money Power Challenge. Watch the replays. If we could serve you in any way possible, look forward to seeing you on the next training and having you in our world. We love you. Give me a big old boom for the team. Hey, team. Thank you, everybody, for serving, and have an amazing weekend.